This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Encompass Health, North Shore Community College, Leo Inc., Brotherhood Credit Union, and Daoulas Brothers Construction.
Good morning. Welcome back to LCTV News and the official start of spring. The headlines follow this pattern, featuring activities and upgrades for the coming months. On the Lowdown, the Public Arts Commission highlighted the work of artists, which can be seen all around the city and best enjoyed in the warmer weather. Here's the news for Friday, March 29th, 2024. The MBTA announced that ferry service is returning for the 2024 season and for the first time will offer a weekend schedule. Running from Blossom Street Extension in Lynn to Long Wharf in Boston, the ferry will run from Monday, April 29th to October 31st, with Saturday service beginning on May 25th. A one-way trip from Lynn to Boston is $7, but in July and August, when the summer tunnel is closed, the fare will drop to $2.40. Approximately 20,000 people utilized the ferry during this two-month period last year, with the ferry holding 150 passengers per trip. Tickets can be purchased on the M-Ticket app or with cash. Link passes, commuter rail zone passes, and M7s are also accepted. Last year, the MBTA signed a 2-year lease with the option for a 3-year extension with the EDIC for use of the pier, terminal, and parking lot on Blossom Street for the purpose of operating the ferry. After several years of work and planning, Lynn Public Schools officially cut the ribbon for their new Welcome Center. Located at 2 State Street, this new facility offers family a place to seek out support from educators in subjects such as registration and planning.
On Monday, March 25th, Lynn city officials gathered at 2 State Street to celebrate the opening of the new Lynn Public Schools Welcome Center, a project that has been years in the making. 2 State Street once was occupied by an old branch of Century Bank, which merged with Eastern Bankshares in 2021. Now 3 years later, a project that has been in the works dating back to the interim superintendent, Deborah Ruggiero, has finally been completed. Dr. Yvonne Alvarez, the current superintendent of Lynn Public Schools, spoke on what this center means for the Lynn Public Schools and its students.
Having this incredible space is really not just about registration and placement and assessment. It's really about that sense of support where our incredible staff is able to answer questions and guide families to do what they need to do in the best interest of their sons and daughters.
Mayor Jared Nicholson also spoke on the importance of this new center to the Lynn community.
The future of our city happens in the public schools. The future starts in the public schools. And in a lot of ways, the public schools start with the Welcome Center. It's an introduction for our families to all the amazing work that happens in the public schools. It's an exciting occasion to be able to mark the symbolic importance of this building.
3, 2, 1. For LCTV News, I'm Josh Englander.
Kids and families got a special treat ahead of this holiday weekend, meeting the Easter Bunny at City Hall from the 25th to the 27th. They posed for pictures and got to take home an egg of treats.
On Tuesday, March 26th, LCTV went down to City Hall to meet the Easter Bunny. Running from Tuesday to Friday, both kids and adults had the chance to sit down with the Easter Bunny, take pictures, and collect eggs to take home with them. It was the first year that the event took place at City Hall. Sponsored by Mayor Jared Nicholson and the Lynn City Council, the event was run by Lisa Narek, Associate Commissioner of the Department of Public Works, whose nephew Michael Narek happened to be wearing the Easter Bunny costume. She told me they decided to have it at City Hall this year because of the success of their annual tree lighting every Christmas that involves taking pictures with Santa Claus. Lisa also said that, quote, "Events like this bring the community together as a whole, an opportunity for families to participate in a fun-free family event." When asked who helped her support the event, Lisa shouted out Allison Perry from Community Development, Covanta for providing the candy for the plastic eggs, which were provided by Parks and Recreation, Flowers by Lorraine for the props for the photo background, Boston Costumes for providing the Easter Bunny costume itself, and Rachel Villanueva and Jackie Ramirez, staff members from Parks and Recreation. For LCTV News, I'm Josh Englander.
The Lynn Retirement Board received the final report for the Lynn Retirement System from the Public Employee Retirement Administration Commission. It encompasses the system's total assets and liabilities from January 1st of 2021 to January 1st of 2023. According to this report, assets have reached an all-time high of $517.2 million, an $89.7 million increase. Liabilities also increased by $58.2 million. Funding levels have also grown by 7%, allowing the city to fund pension costs for the next 9 years and receive 100% funding by 2033. 100% funding occurs when Lynn's total assets reach a point of being able to pay all current and future costs of retiree benefits, as well as anticipated benefits. On the investment side, the city's assets increased by 11.2% for a $33 million gain and also reached an all-time high of $521.6 million. On Tuesday, March 26th, Lynn United for Change, Neighbor to Neighbor, and the Essex County Community Organization co-sponsored a housing justice legislative action. State Senator Brendan Crichton and State Representatives Dan Cahill, Pete Capano, and Jenny Armini were all in attendance to hear testimony and answer questions.
So what we are doing here is an in-district action where we are talking with our elected officials about housing. We have 3 buckets in which this falls in, one of which is the Affordable Homes Act. We are also talking about tenant protections and tenant rights, as well as the Returning Citizens Bill, which is focused on supporting people who are returning from incarceration and receiving state IDs in order for them to be able to obtain housing.
There are a lot of important bills in the legislature right now that could really impact a lot of us here. And so it's important to know, whether or not these legislators support these bills.
The event was divided into parts, with background on the issues provided by members of the organizations, followed by testimony from several constituents, and concluding with the elected officials' responses. Ultimately, the conclusion was that they supported more money into several programs, but needed to see the language in the amendments before committing to supporting them.
In February, I was walking across Lynn Drive, and a car came up and ran me over. I had achieved my highest degree in my field. I have a doctorate. And I was left homeless, no money, desperate. And I had applied to housing. Somebody said, hey, you're old enough now. You can apply for senior housing. But it saved me. I live an incredible life. I'm alive. But that wouldn't have been true if I didn't have housing.
We are 200,000 units short in the Commonwealth today. I support investing billions of dollars into developing public housing for seniors, for people with disabilities, for families, for people who need a leg up.
I think it's important for Lynn especially to also advocate for the expansion of vouchers. But like Dan, I'm not going to commit to an amendment I've never read. And so I hope that you come away understanding that I'm with you in spirit, but I want to see the language.
It is very difficult to commit to amendments or to legislation when the bill is not before you. I'm supportive of the governor's bill as she filed it, but there is a serious question of how we use our money. In Massachusetts, both the Senate and the House has said we were going to dedicate more than ever before more resources to public housing and towards affordable housing. but we have to make up for decades and decades of disinvestment.
Unless we start thinking a little bigger, we're not going to put a dent in it. We need to start talking about public housing, new public housing. Because none of what's being built right now is being built for families. What we need to do and commit to is what can we do for the people that are living here right now.
For LCTV News, I'm Dani Vittori. This past Wednesday, the 27th, the grant manager for the city's ARPA funds announced a capital project totaling $200,000 directed towards jobs for Lynn's youth. The total amount will not just come from ARPA funding, but several sources. Last year, 259 youth applied for summer jobs, but only 159 of them were hired. The purpose of this project is to increase job opportunities and openings for young people in the community. With this funding, 40-hour minimum wage jobs could go to 55 additional youth for $198,000 this upcoming summer, all building towards the ultimate goal of getting every youth who is eligible a job. Earlier in March, 6th Congressional Representative Seth Moulton announced the securing and distribution of $13.2 million for 15 community improvement projects across his district, including $1 million to North Shore Community College. NSCC will be using their piece of the grant to upgrade and improve their biology and physics labs on the Lynn campus. According to college president Dr. William Heineman, having state-of-the-art, modernized facilities on par with the industry standard is critical to teach students the skills they need to obtain a job outside of school. They will be going one lab at a time, conducting the first major overhaul for these facilities in the last 10 years. For more than 2 decades, Lynn Public Schools has been hosting an early childhood literacy night meant to encourage students and their families to engage in reading. LPS offers dozens of programs in multiple languages, showing young children the joys and value of learning literacy early in life.
Tonight is a very important night for the early childhood community in Lynn. We have our annual early childhood literacy fair. This is I think it's our 23rd year hosting this event, and it's really a great opportunity for families to get some information on what's being offered in Lynn for our youngest children in the community. We have around 30 different programs here represented. It's geared towards families and how to engage their children with early literacy. We have many things in multiple languages in Lynn. We have a large population of Spanish-speaking families, so a lot of our programs are aware of that, and they make sure that there's books that show families that there are mirrors and windows and doors so that children are seeing themselves in the books as well as they're linguistically responsive and appropriate for their families. Continuing that work at home and really recognizing that parents are the child's first teacher and trying to develop those relationships and those partnerships between program educators and family educators. Everyone that is here is passionate about early learning and early childhood, so it's just a great environment of professionals and families that just want to do the best for our children in Lynn.
On deck, the sports update. A 5th straight championship in 17 years for the St. Mary's girls hockey team wrapped up the winter sports season and kept the school streak alive for 17 straight seasons with at least one championship. In the small break between seasons, elementary students took to the court for the girls and boys all-star games last weekend, with East Lynn victorious in both. The girls were up first in a low-scoring but physical game, 16-11. They made it exciting, putting up several highlight shots to end the game, including the game winner, a 2-point bank shot. For the boys, it was a 60-55 win, where Anthony Awuni scored 21 points, including 5 three-pointers. It took everything the Eastland boys had, missing several close shots before securing the win. The Celtics have officially clinched the top seed in the Eastern Conference, and with it, a berth in the 2024 playoffs. With the end of the season only a few weeks away, they're doing all they can to get in postseason shape, including beating the Chicago Bulls 124-113 on the 23rd on the road. One thing this team possesses is contributions from players across the lineup, from starters to the bench. 5 Celtics were again in double digits, with Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Sam Hauser breaking the 20-point margin. Luke Cornett only netted 8 points, but he grabbed a team-high 13 rebounds. There are also only a few weeks left in the hockey season, and the Bruins continue their up-and-down year. After losing 2 games, they pulled off a 4-3 victory over the Florida Panthers, who knocked Boston out of the playoffs last year. Charlie McAvoy, Pavel Zacha, and David Pastrnak all recorded a goal and assist, with Trent Frederick netting the 4th goal. However, they lost again 3-1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. A 42-17-15 record is still good enough to clinch them a spot in the playoffs earlier this week. The Lynn Public Arts Commission is comprised of Lynn residents looking to give arts the tools they need to succeed. Some of their recent projects include fabrics of the community and the decoration of bus stop terminals around the city. They came on the Lowdown to tell us more. Good morning and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on the chair of the Lynn Public Arts Commission and the Community Affairs and Outreach Coordinator for the Office of Mayor Nicholson. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Right. So would you mind just quickly introducing yourselves and saying a little bit about your roles?
Sure. So I'm Joanna Cacciola. I am the recently elected chair of the Lynn Public Arts Commission. Perfect. My name is Sarita Ago. I work for Mayor Nicholson. I do community affairs, and I am the outreach coordinator.
Great. So we're here today to talk a little bit about the Public Arts Commission. So for anyone who maybe isn't super familiar with that, would you mind giving a little overview of kind of your main goals, what you do?
Sure. So the Lynn Public Arts Commission works to find artists in the city and create different art projects for the community so that there is art throughout the city. Recently, you've probably seen them. We've done some utility boxes, the bus shelters, the Laces of Lynn, sculpture at Exchange Street, and we're constantly looking for new projects to undertake and develop for the community, as well as develop a process for working throughout the city to ensure that there is public art.
And if artists are interested, do they contact you directly? Is there an application process? Like, how do you select the artists?
That's a great question. So like all of our boards and commissions, we have a process of how you can apply. You can either apply online on our website under boards and commissions, and we'll usually say what board and commission is available. Mm-hmm. So right now Public Arts is up, and we still do have the Historical Commission as well. You just press the link that's there. It'll take you to the application. You can fill it out. If that's not something you're into doing it online, which we understand, you could definitely come in person, and we can print out the application and do it there. But any questions anyone has, even before the application process, they can definitely reach me through email or phone call or come in person to the mayor's office.
Because you were talking a little bit, like, people, the way that even commissioners are appointed, it's a little complicated. I know you were explaining that, but for anyone who maybe is interested, how does that work?
Yes, so specifically for this commission, there are 5 that are appointed by the mayor's office and 5 from the city council.
Okay, all right, so that's how
and then there are some, there are different specifics as well. I don't know if you want to touch that a little bit.
Yeah, so you can probably speak more effectively to it, but I know that we are currently looking for commission members, and there's a variety of different roles in the community that we are looking to have commission members be filling in their daily lives that they can then bring to the work that the commission does. And so we are looking for Lynn business owners, employees of Lynn nonprofits, and then working artists.
Yeah.
Great. That sounds cool to hear. And you mentioned them briefly, but talk a little about, let's say, art on the move. A lot of people can see them, the bus terminals. How did that come about, and what was the purpose of that project?
So the Art on the Move project was a really big undertaking. It took several months. We worked, the Lynn Public Arts Commission with City Hall, worked with ITDP, and obviously the MBTA, because they own the bus shelters, to develop the project. And then we identified 7 bus shelters on the, like in a strip area, similar to what we did with the utility boxes, so that there's sort of a lot of art in a specific area that's all connected on this theme of transportation and movement, but emphasized on the Lynn landscape. And it was a really big project with lots of different partners, and we put out a call for art, reviewed all of the different artists that applied, their proposed projects, and then the commission came together, discusses them, and voted. And then the artists did all the really hard work, and we had a ribbon cutting ceremony a few months ago. We're hoping to do an exhibition about it, something a little more formal, because it was a cold, blustery morning when we did the official ribbon cutting.
Everyone was like, all right, cut the ribbon, great, all right, we're done.
Yeah, there was coffee. There was coffee. But that was a great project because it not only brought together Lynn artists, but beautified us, transportation places that everyone uses daily to get to and from work and to their friends' houses. And hopefully we'll inspire more artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, and beautifying places and areas that most people don't notice, like the utility boxes, Factor the Community is another example of that. Most people don't really look at utility boxes, and now I notice them everywhere.
Yeah.
So what was the theme behind that?
So the theme for this set of utility boxes that we did was Fabric of the Community. And so we encouraged artists to apply and talk about and develop an artwork that would combine their personal or cultural fabric from their life, and also how it pertains to their current Lynn residency. So there might be, fabric from their childhood combined with, the landscape of, King's Red Rock Park.
So that does sounds wicked cool. And transitioning out of that a little bit, you also mentioned your strategic vision for 2024. That's being updated or looking forward?
Yeah, so we're constantly, as a commission, working with City Hall to make sure that there is public art accessible for everyone in the community. And like any organization or business, a strategic vision is always helpful to guide what you're doing. And having just finished these 2 really big projects in the last year, we're trying to start fresh, build on that momentum, and develop a plan and a process moving forward for what we want to see this year, but also long term in the next 3 to 5 years. So like I said at the beginning of this, that there is public art sort of in perpetuity.
And then you work for City Hall, work for the mayor's office. How does your role combine with that, the community outreach piece of it?
I'm just there to help and support. They do all the hard work, and I'm just there to be the supporting person. Again, if there's any questions, excuse me, any questions about how the boards and commissions work, that's what I'm there for. Yeah.
And another big piece of it, like so many things, is the collaboration. So do you work with other organizations within the city, state? Like, how does that usually work for public art?
Yes, so there's always partners because we're a small but mighty group of volunteers. So obviously City Hall, individuals within City Hall from Sarita to the Department of Public Works, because we're often on public spaces. We need to make sure we are following all the rules. And then with the different projects, we've been involved with NEFA and ITDP. I do not remember what ITDP stands for, but there's always different collaborative partners. We've worked with RAW, Beyond Walls, many more before I joined the commission, I'm sure, and hope to continue working with our past partners and hopefully develop some new ones.
And I'll ask both of you this. Why do you think having public art and giving the artists this chance is such an important thing to have in the city?
Do you want to go first?
Well, I think with things that you just mentioned, right, there are certain spots, locations that we use on a daily basis, and through projects like this, they get highlighted, right? And then even as I was driving down here, there's still so much great art in our downtown area that, you know, you never know. You might be having a bad day and you just look out and it might inspire you to do something. It just might brighten your mood. And then there's also a sense of community to it where, excuse me, you're putting a part of yourself towards your community to make it beautiful. And it brings this form of community where you can identify with someone and where you can take part into it, and it just makes it your own. So we love to see that. We love to be a part of that, and I think this is why this is so important. And you know, sometimes people are always looking for ways to partake in community events, and what better way to do that than with one of the boards and commissions in the Public Art Commission.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've long been an advocate for art in public spaces. You know, having an arts background, I think art's really important to community development, and just creating relationships. And so the work of the Public Arts Commission is really important to me because I think it's just vital to, you know, any success of a city and making it accessible to anyone and everyone. I want, you know, little kids to their grandparents to know that, you know, art's for them. You know, you don't have to go to a museum to see it. It's every day, it's everywhere. And then hopefully inspire a bunch of them to become artists, because without them, it'd be a very boring visual landscape.
Yes. And for someone who doesn't have like an art bone in their body, I appreciate it very much. So
I have a little bit of artistic stuff, but not in that sense, more in the technological sense. And before we wrap it up, I just want to ask, you do have meetings, they're Zoom, but they are open to the public. So when do those occur?
Yes, so we as a commission meet on the first Thursday of the month from 6 to about 7:30. We try to keep them short and sweet because we know everybody's got other things they want to do with their time. And they are currently via Zoom. And so the link is, they are open to the public. And hopefully someday we'll be able to meet again in person, but Zoom is just so great. It really works well for everybody's busy schedule. So I think you can reach out to Sarita to get the link if you want to attend as a community member.
yes, absolutely. Any of those questions, please come my way. And then they do appear on our website afterwards.
Yes.
Great. That's great to know. And I do have to wrap up in a moment, but is there anything else that I didn't mention that either of you wanted to talk about?
I think you covered it all.
Yeah. All right. Great. That's what I like to hear. I know I always love covering the events put on by the Public Arts Commission. It's amazing to see. And I want to thank both of you for coming on to highlight that.
Thank you again for having us.
Of course, anytime. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Up next, the community calendar. Looking for a fun and competitive way to spend your Saturday? Head down to Connery Rink for the 2024 Battle of the Badges, a showdown between the Lynn Fire and Police Departments for charity. Tickets are $10, doors open at 6 p.m. with the puck drop at 6:30. For spectators, there will also be a DJ, prize baskets, and the chance to win prizes such as raffle and scratch tickets. The North Shore Latino Business Association and Mass Hire are inviting the public to their career fair on Tuesday, April 2nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at NSLBA on Sutton Street. Come to hear more about potential job openings and career opportunities. Some of the participating businesses are Greater Lynn Senior Services, the City of Lynn, and Wash Cycle Laundry. Visit lyntv.org for a full list of participating employers. On Wednesday the 3rd, the Lynn Music Foundation is hosting the first in a series of workshops titled Limitless Academy, a songwriting and performance workshop. Hosted from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Vault Theater, come to learn more about crafting lyrics, music storytelling, branding, stage confidence, and more. This is a free event running for 10 weeks. That wraps up the news for this week. As always, visit lyntv.org for the most updated press releases, community calendar, and breaking news. For videos encompassing staff and member content, go to Lynn Community Television on YouTube. And subscribe to Lynn Community Television on social media for updates on events, photos, and more. I'm Dani Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Encompass Health, North Shore Community College, Leo Inc., Brotherhood Credit Union, and Daoulas Brothers Construction.